All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha. The headlines. Farm Laws Repeal Bill 2021 passed in Parliament as Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha approve it on first day of winter session. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar says MSP procurement has doubled in comparison to the year 2014. 12 opposition members suspended from Rajya Sabha for remaining part of winter session for having created ruckus on the last day of monsoon session. Government approves strategic disinvestment of Central Electronics Limited. The revised guidelines for international arrivals in India in view of the Omicron COVID-19 threat to be effective from the 1st of December. G7 health ministers call for urgent action to combat highly transmissible Omicron strain spreading across the world. Israel, Morocco, Japan and South Korea close off foreign travel as European nations too shut their borders specifically to travellers from South Africa in response to Omicron fears. Over 123 crore 15 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country so far. Recovery rate stands at 98.34%. Indian tech wizard Parag Agrawal takes over as CEO of Twitter. And in cricket, first test match between India and New Zealand ends in a draw at Kanpur. Ravichandran Ashwin becomes India's third highest wicket taker in tests. As India created history by administering over 100 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, All India Radio salutes all the doctors, nurses, other frontline workers and all those who got vaccinated and made this possible. Even though the country has achieved this feat, we caution our listeners that the battle against COVID is not yet over. We appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact National Helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Janotsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz is being conducted every Monday and Tuesday in the morning news since 16th of August and will continue till 15th August 2022. India Post has joined hands as the logistics partner with All India Radio News for the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Recalling our yesterday's question, Baba Gurdeep Singh was associated with which incident that catalyzed the Gadar movement? The correct answer is Komagata Maru incident. In May 1914, Komagata Maru, a Japanese steamer carrying 376 passengers from Hong Kong, mostly immigrants from Punjab, British India, arrived in Vancouver, Canada. It was denied docking by the Canadian authorities. The Komagata Maru returned to Calcutta in September 1914. The British Imperial government saw the men on Komagata Maru as dangerous political agitators. The police went aboard the ship to arrest Baba Gurdeep Singh and other leaders. The arrest was resisted by the passengers, which led to police firing, in which 19 passengers were killed. Baba Gurdeep Singh escaped along with many others. AIR News got an overwhelming response from its listeners across the world, and the one lucky winner of the quiz is Miss Rucha Rushikesh Kesale from Dadar, West Mumbai, Maharashtra.
I am Advocate Rucha Rushikesh Kesale. From my childhood, my parents perpetually insisted me to listen to Akashvani News as to enhance knowledge, English vocabulary, current affairs, weather forecast, market trend, and most important, news authenticity. The language used by Akashvani is heartwarming and respectful. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav series gives us inspiration and provoke us to do something for our nation and update our knowledge about freedom fighters. Thank you Akashvani for selecting me and giving me chance to interact through this platform. Jai Hind.
And coming to our 32nd question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz in English. Who led the tribal rebellion against the local king and the British rule in Bastar, Chhattisgarh in 1910 through a movement popularly known as the Bhumkal movement? I repeat. Who led the tribal rebellion against the local king and the British rule in Bastar, Chhattisgarh in 1910 through a movement popularly known as the Bhumkal movement? Listeners can send their responses to the question over WhatsApp on 882-654-6262. I repeat, 882-654-6262 or through email on amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. I repeat, amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. And now the news in detail. The Parliament passed the Farm Laws Repeal Bill 2021 with the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha approving it on the first day of the winter session yesterday. The bill seeking to withdraw the 3 farm bills was moved in Lok Sabha by Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar amid ruckus by the opposition. It was passed in the lower house without discussion as Speaker Om Birla said debate is not possible in a noisy scene. Later, the bill was introduced in the upper house by Minister Narendra Singh Tomar in the post-lunch session, which was passed amidst noisy scenes. Speaking on the bill, Leader of Opposition Mallikarjun Kharge said the opposition parties welcomed the bill, but he, however, alleged that the government has brought the bill in view of the forthcoming assembly elections in 5 states. Agriculture Minister Tomar said the government has enacted the 3 farm laws in the interest of the farmers, but the opposition adopted double standards on it.
माननीय उपसभापति महोदय, ये तीनों कृषि सुधार बिल आपकी बात रिकॉर्ड की जाए किसानों की भलाई के लिए लाई थी, लेकिन हम सब लोगों को इस बात का दुख है कि कई बार प्रयत्न करने के बावजूद भी और जो कांग्रेस पार्टी के लोग अपने घोषणा पत्र में रखने के बाद भी उस पर दोहरा रुख अपनाते रहे। हम आपकी बात ही रिकॉर्ड की जा रही है, उनको माननीय मंत्री जी रखे, इसलिए प्रधानमंत्री जी ने ऐतिहासिक बड़प्पन का परिचय दिया और गुरु नानक देव जी के पावन प्रकाश पर्व पर उन्होंने इनको वापस लेने की घोषणा की। यह प्रधानमंत्री जी की कथनी और करनी की एक रूपता का परिचायक है।
He said on the holy occasion of Guru Nanak Jayanti, Prime Minister Narendra Modi made the announcement about the decision to repeal them with an open heart. Tomar said MSP procurement has been doubled in comparison to the year 2014. Earlier, only paddy and wheat crop was procured on MSP. Under the leadership of PM Modi, MSP procurement was started on pulses, oilseeds and cotton.
हमने एमएसपी को 1.5 गुना किया। एमएसपी पर खरीद 2014 से तुलना करें तो लगभग दुगनी हो गई। पहले गेहूं और धान 2 ही जिन्स एमएसपी पर खरीदी जाती थी। उसके बाद मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में दलहन, तिलहन और कपास की खरीद भी प्रारंभ हुई। छोटे किसानों को प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए, उनको मदद करने के लिए, उनकी ताकत बढ़ाने के लिए 10,000 एफपीओ बनाने की घोषणा की है, जिस पर काम प्रारंभ हो गया है। 6,850 करोड़ रुपया सरकार उस पर खर्च करने वाली है। ये एफपीओ बनने के बाद इसके माध्यम से निश्चित रूप से खेती और किसानी में बहुत परिवर्तन आने वाला है।
Meanwhile, in the Rajya Sabha, 12 opposition members were suspended for the rest of the current winter session. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi moved the motion seeking their suspension, saying their unruly behavior on the last day of the previous monsoon session has lowered the dignity and brought disrepute to the upper house. During the question hour in the lower house, opposition members trooped into the well of the house, demanding uniform minimum support price structure across the country, among other issues. In the din, the Speaker adjourned the House till noon. Later, after passing the Farm Laws Repeal Bill 2021, the House was adjourned till 2 p.m. and then for the day. The motion was passed by voice vote amid resistance from the opposition. Farmers across the country have welcomed the repealing of the farm laws.
प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं, जिन्होंने जो वादा किया था कानून रद्द करने का, कानूनी तौर पर उन्होंने तीनों कानून रद्द कर दिए हैं। मोदी साहब जी ने जो 3 कानून वापस ले लिया, मैं उनका धन्यवाद करता हूं। बाकी मेरी किसान भाइयों से बेनती है कि आप लोग घर को आ जाओ, क्योंकि बहुत परेशानियां, बहुत मुश्किल हो रही हैं ठंड में। आप लोग घर आ जाओ तो अच्छी बात है, क्योंकि जो 3 कानून थे वो तो मोदी साहब जी ने वापस ले लिए हैं, उनका धन्यवाद है।
बहुत ਵਧੀਆ मोदी साहब ने किया, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਵਾਪਸ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਹੁਣ ਸਾਡੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਵਾਪਸ ਚਲੋ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ।
ਬਹੁਤ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ, ਮੋਦੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਔਰ ਪੂਰੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੁਬਾਰਕ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ।
The Assisted Reproductive Technology Regulation Bill 2020 is likely to be taken up for consideration and passing in the Lok Sabha today. The bill seeks to regulate and supervise assisted reproductive technology clinics and the assisted reproductive technology banks. The High Court and Supreme Court judges' salaries and conditions of service amendment Bill 2021 is expected to be introduced in the House today. In the Rajya Sabha, the Dam Safety Bill of 2019 has been listed for consideration and passing. The bill provides for surveillance, inspection, operation and maintenance of the specified dam for the prevention of dam failure-related disasters and to provide for institutional mechanism to ensure their safe functioning. The government has approved strategic disinvestment of Central Electronics Limited. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, CCEA, empowered alternative mechanism comprising Roads, Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh has approved the highest price bid of Messrs Nandal Finance and the Leasing Private Limited for sale of 100% equity shareholding of the Government of India in Central Electronics Limited.
India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 123 crore 15 lakh mark. Out of the total vaccination, more than 78 crore 58 lakh vaccine doses have been given as the first dose, while over 44 crore 56 lakh doses have been administered as second dose. Health Ministry said that more than 70,85,000 vaccine doses were administered so far. As part of the nationwide vaccination drive, the centre has been supporting the states and union territories by providing them COVID vaccines free of cost. In view of reporting of Omicron, the new variant of COVID-19, the Union Health Ministry has revised guidelines for international arrivals in India to be effective from the 1st of December. The ministry has mandated submitting 14 days travel details, uploading negative RT-PCR test report on Air Suvidha portal before the journey. The RT-PCR test should have been conducted within 72 hours prior to undertaking the journey.
India has offered support for Africa to fight the Omicron variant and also expressed solidarity with the countries, particularly in Africa, who have so far been affected by the Omicron variant. The External Affairs Ministry said India is ready to support the countries affected in Africa in dealing with the Omicron variant, including by supplies of made-in-India vaccines. Supplies can be undertaken through COVAX or bilaterally. In this regard, the government has cleared all orders placed so far by COVAX for supplies of Covishield vaccines, including to African countries like Malawi, Ethiopia, Zambia, Mozambique, Guinea and Lesotho. India has also cleared supplies of Covaxin to Botswana.
The Maharashtra State Department of School Education has decided to start classes for primary schools in the state from 1st of December. Minister of School Education, Professor Varsha Gaikwad, has appealed to all schools to strictly follow COVID protocols. According to circular issued yesterday, it has been made mandatory for all teachers and non-teaching staff to take RT-PCR test for COVID-19 2 days in advance before commencement of classes.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Farm Laws Repeal Bill 2021 passed in Parliament as Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha approve it on first day of winter session. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar says MSP procurement has doubled in comparison to the year 2014. 12 opposition members suspended from Rajya Sabha for remaining part of winter session for having created ruckus on the last day of monsoon session. Government approves strategic disinvestment of Central Electronics Limited. The revised guidelines for international arrivals in India in view of the Omicron COVID-19 threat to be effective from the 1st of December. G7 health ministers call for urgent action to combat highly transmissible Omicron strain spreading across the world. Israel, Morocco, Japan and South Korea close off foreign travel as European nations too shut their borders specifically to travellers from South Africa in response to Omicron fears. Over 123 crore 15 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country so far. Recovery rate stands at 98.34%. Indian tech wizard Parag Agarwal takes over as CEO of Twitter. And in cricket, first test match between India and New Zealand ends in a draw at Kanpur. Ravichandran Ashwin becomes India's third highest wicket taker in tests. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the morning news on All India Radio. G7 health ministers yesterday called for urgent action to combat the highly transmissible new Omicron COVID-19 strain spreading across the world. The G7 ministers has issued a joint statement following an emergency meeting to discuss concerns related to the Omicron variant. In a joint statement, they said the global community is faced with the threat of a new, highly transmissible variant of COVID-19, which requires urgent action. Underlining the strategic relevance of ensuring access to vaccines, they pledged to hold to their donation commitments as well as to provide support to research and development. In response to Omicron variant of COVID-19, countries like Israel, Morocco, Japan and South Korea have closed off foreign travel as European nations too shut their borders specifically to travellers from Southern Africa. US President Joe Biden has sought to reassure the nation yesterday, saying the variant was a cause for concern but not a cause for panic. He said he would outline a plan on Thursday to fight Omicron with vaccines and testing and not with more lockdowns.
Minister of State for Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions Dr. Jitendra Singh has launched unique face recognition technology for pensioners in New Delhi. He said that face recognition technique of giving life certificate is a historic and far-reaching reform, and this will bring ease of living for the retired and elderly citizens. And now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle.
In today's episode, we remember patriot Parhasi Raja, who was martyred on the 30th of November 1805. He was the de facto head of the Kingdom of Kottayam in the Malabar area of Kerala between 1774 and 1805 and fought the British East India Company. Born as Kerala Varma, he was popularly known as Kerala Simham, the Lion of Kerala, on account of his martial exploits.
In 1792, the East India Company acquired control of the Kottayam area and appointed Veera Varma as the Raja of Kottayam, surpassing Parhasi Raja's claim to the throne. Veera Varma, who was Raja's uncle, imposed exorbitant taxes on peasantry to meet the revenue targets fixed by company authorities. In 1793, Raja, who was always opposed to the company's rule, led a peasant mass resistance against this economic exploitation.
In 1796, the company tried to arrest Parhasi Raja, but he fought back, using guerrilla warfare, forcing the British to sue for peace. In 1797, however, the conflict was renewed in 1800 over a dispute on Wayanad. Parhasi Raja was forced to take refuge in the wilderness of Wayanad, where he organized the Kurichia tribes and, using guerrilla warfare, created many difficulties for the British forces.
In 1805, the British were finally able to subdue Raja's forces, but they could not catch him alive as he killed himself in the interiors of the forest. AIR salutes the valiant warrior king, Parhasi Raja.
Today we also remember freedom fighter and revolutionary Gendalal Dikshit, who was born on the 30th of November 1888.
His biography was written by another great revolutionary, Ram Prasad Bismil, with the pen name of Agyat, in the Hindi magazine Prabha in 1924, published from Kanpur.
Gendalal was born in Uttar Pradesh and was a teacher by profession. When Lord Curzon ordered the division of Bengal, a Swadeshi movement arose throughout the country, and Gendalal got inspired by the writings of Bal Gangadhar Tilak. He took leave of absence from his job and went to the nearby princely state of Gwalior to encourage youth towards the freedom movement.
He established the Shivaji Samiti as a means to this end and engaged in guerrilla warfare against the British forces. He also actively collaborated with Ram Prasad Bismil and helped Bismil in expanding operations of his organization Matri Vedi in the city of Shahjahanpur, Uttar Pradesh. वक्त आने पर बता देंगे तुझे ओ आसमां हम अभी से क्या बताएं क्या हमारे दिल में.
Gendalal was arrested for his involvement in the Mainpuri conspiracy of 1918 and imprisoned, first at Agra Fort and later at Mainpuri. He managed to escape from prison and died on 21st of December 1920 in a government hospital at Delhi after contracting tuberculosis. We salute this great Indian revolutionary.
We also remember the leader of the pre-Gandhian era, Ramesh Chandra Dutt, who died on the 30th of November 1909. Dutt was a moderate himself, but it is said that through his criticisms of the economic policies of the British government, he contributed significantly to the growth of political radicalism.
R.C. Dutt was the second Indian to clear the ICS exam after Surendranath Tagore. He resigned from service to help create public opinion in India and England in favor of reforming the government of India by pointing out its mistakes and suggesting measures including gradual institutional changes and greater participation of Indians in all branches of administration.
3 publications by Dutt dealt with the economic effects of British colonial rule in India. Dutt chaired the 1899 session of the Indian National Congress. We salute this great Indian.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
भारत के स्वतंत्रता संग्राम में अनगिनत स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों ने अपने प्राणों की आहुति दी। कुछ इतिहास में अमर हो गए और कई गुमनाम। आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के अंतर्गत 75 कड़ियों की श्रृंखला में हम उन वीरांगनाओं की बात करेंगे जिनका योगदान कभी भुलाया नहीं जा सकता। प्रत्येक मंगलवार परिक्रमा में सुनिए अपराजिता, देश की वीरांगनाओं को आकाशवाणी का सादर नमन।
In today's episode of Aparajita, we will bring you the story entitled Bhogeshwari Phukanani ki Shaurya Gatha, Akashvani ki Zubani. Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase hallmarked gold jewellery. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago.
In our bilingual live phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series, Phone-in with Public, Dr. Alok Thakkar, HOD ENT AIMS, will be with us tonight to answer queries related to coronavirus. Listeners can ask questions to the expert from 9:30 p.m. on toll-free number 1800-115-767. Indian tech wizard Parag Agarwal takes over as CEO of the social media platform Twitter following the departure of its co-founder CEO. Yesterday, Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey has stepped down as chief executive of the company, paving the way for the current chief technical officer Parag Agarwal to take over. The first cricket test match at Kanpur between India and New Zealand ended in a draw. Chasing the target of 284 runs, the visitors scored 165 for 9 wickets. India's spin trio of R. Ashwin, Ravindra Jadeja and Akshar Patel helped the hosts stay on top for the major part of the final session.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. Srinagar will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Jammu will also have mainly clear sky. Leh is likely to witness partly cloudy sky. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky. Muzaffarabad will have sunny sky. The national capital Delhi will have shallow fog. Mumbai will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Chennai is expected to witness thunderstorm with rain. And in Kolkata, it will have mainly clear sky.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. All the front page headlines in different dailies cite the repealing of the 3 farm laws by the government. The Tribune writes, no debate, Parliament passes bill to repeal farm laws, will answer all queries, says Prime Minister. A top headline in the Pioneer says 12 opposition MPs suspended for RS session for unruly acts on the very first day of the winter session of Parliament. On the global spread of Omicron, Hindustan Times writes, no fatalities linked to new variant, but WHO cautious. Under the headline Word of the Year after pandemic it's vaccine, Hindustan Times mentions about vaccine being the new word of the year, dominating the lexicon throughout 2021. And finally, the latest National Family Health Survey reveals that Indians have become more obese, hypertensive and prone to diabetes as an impact of COVID, is a story in the Economic Times.
Before we end the bulletin, a reminder of today's question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Who led the tribal rebellion against the local king and the British rule in Bastar, Chhattisgarh in 1910 through a movement popularly known as the Bhumkal movement? I repeat, who led the tribal rebellion against the local king and the British rule in Bastar, Chhattisgarh in 1910 through a movement popularly known as the Bhumkal movement? WhatsApp your response on 882-654-6262 or through email on amritmahotsav@prasarbharati.gov.in. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Farm Laws Repeal Bill 2021 passed in Parliament as Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha approve it on first day of winter session. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar says MSP procurement has doubled in comparison to the year 2014. 12 opposition members suspended from Rajya Sabha for remaining part of winter session for having created ruckus on the last day of monsoon session. Government approves strategic disinvestment of Central Electronics Limited. The revised guidelines for international arrivals in India in view of the Omicron COVID-19 threat to be effective from the 1st of December. G7 health ministers call for urgent action to combat highly transmissible Omicron strain spreading across the world. Israel, Morocco, Japan and South Korea close off foreign travel as European nations too shut their borders specifically to travellers from South Africa in response to Omicron fears. Over 123 crore 15 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country so far. Recovery rate stands at 98.34%. Indian tech wizard Parag Agrawal takes over as CEO of Twitter. And in cricket, first test match between India and New Zealand ends in a draw at Kanpur. Ravichandran Ashwin becomes India's third highest wicket taker in Test. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.